This is the Realty Classroom Podcast, episode number 120. Why are real estate agents so afraid to be authoritative? Are you a real estate agent with an entrepreneurial spirit who wants to turn your job into a business without sacrificing your lifestyle, but you just can't seem to find the right plan or any plan to help you get there? Well, then, hey, you're definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Realty Classroom and the host of this podcast. Now, to help you get started right now, if you're brand new or you've been in the business for a long time, and I coach a lot of you top producers, so I know what the issue is, there's no strategy involved. Everybody's trying to do this business on muscle, and that's not good. So I created a free jumpstart course for you over at freeagentgift.com, and it will give you a foundation for a more strategic approach to running your real estate agency business, okay? That means real estate agent business and agency. Scalable. Everybody, get over there. Freeagentgift.com. Get strategic. Protect yourself. All right, let's get going. Why are real estate agents so afraid to be authoritative? This is actually a big issue. I'm doing this podcast fresh off of the TRC or the Realty Classroom's sales training, which if you want to see copies of that live, you can just go over to the Realty Classroom Facebook page or the YouTube channel, and you can hear me going through this, and you can hear some recorded calls, especially in the telemarketing end. That's when it's easiest to capture the moment. I wish I could do it in the outside sales moments where agents are going and dealing with buyers for the first time and going in to give sellers a dissertation about how they're going to sell their house. That's called a listing presentation, right? So the problem is everybody is sort of apologetic. And let me get into this, and it's bugging me. So I got to do a podcast episode about it. All right. Number one point here is I learned this a long time ago in a book that I read written by Dan Kennedy, or I think I probably heard him say it a gajillion times too, when he was mentoring my mentor. He said this: prospects pursued, run away. Prospects pursued, run away. Because his whole thought was direct response copywriting marketing. If you wrote down the right thing, they would be magnetically marketed to, and they would come to you like a magnet. You would attract them like a magnet. You would say the right thing to the right person at the right time, and they would come to you. And to a very large extent, that's true. Now, there's a little wrinkle in our business in that we have this strange business where the inventory itself is physically out there, and we can't just go out and buy it. You have to actually go out and acquire the listing inventory, share it in MLS, and then when you have a buyer, you can go in there, and the sharing and caring mentality makes the business work, right? But a lot of people will just by accident do business. Very little of it is intentional. So they'll get a license and they'll be told, go, market to your sphere of influence. Tell them you're in the business. Send out a bunch of letters and postcards to all the people that you know. Well, that's fine in the beginning to position yourself, but ultimately you start to become that person. You keep pursuing all your friends and family long enough, they'll run away too. So you don't want to do that. But having said that, there are so many people out there that you don't know that have a need to buy or sell real estate. What's wrong with going after them, and what's wrong with going after them the correct way? Because they are really quietly begging to be led. Now, there's a difference between over pursuing a prospect and leading them. I'm not going to talk really a lot in this podcast about marketing, but I like Kennedy's approach to magnetic marketing, and I also like the approach that I've heard out there about giving away your best stuff for free, which is as old as the hills, to give a freemium, a free report, free information, free guidance. We do it every day in this business, but we don't do it intentionally. You need to make that the core of your strategy so that you can magnetically attract people. But let's presume we have those people. Or let's presume we're going proactively after them with the messaging that needs to not be over pursuing. So they're out there. Let's give you an example on expireds, because that's what I was training on today. I was training on a couple of seller leads today, and I was listening to recorded calls where somebody had been promised a cash offer by some website, and it was passed off as one of these leads, right? I don't know if it's a lead or a whimsical inquiry these days, but anyway, it was being passed off, and the telemarketer was tasked with having to go out there on the phone proactively, dial out, and make an offer that could magnetically attract this person in to a meeting, right? Or have them say yes, send somebody to my house. So whatever the case may be, we have to come up with a good reason, a good offer why these people should be talking to us. See, the interesting thing about leading people and being authoritative, we all think that that's pushy. I don't want to be that person. I'm not that type of person. Well, then don't be in business, period. If you can't see yourself becoming authoritative in any business, go work in the back room for somebody else. Have them tell you what to do and when to do it. Produce a result, spit it out, pick out your paycheck, and go spend your weekend trying to recover from all the stress. Okay? For me, I want to teach you how to be authoritative so you gain control back over your life. You have control over your real estate agency business, but you're not doing it in some weird, creepy, over-pursuit way. I know that sounds like the best of all worlds, but this is what I do. I do the job that you do every week. I run an agency like all you broker owners do, and I have to deal with this every week in the coaching program. So we have to figure out a way where we can magnetically attract people, but not be a bunch of shrinking, wimpy violets that every time the sun comes out, we all just shrivel up, right? We need to be able to lead in the right way. So how do you really get yourself, in a spot where you can get to be the leader for these people because they're silently begging to be led? Well, the next point is you have to recognize that you are a real estate authority, and that's much easier to do when you start off with having a plan. What do I talk about every time if you're a regular listener here? I ask you to go get a free copy of the plan that I put together for real estate agents. And really, the purpose of the free plan is to give you a framework about the major modules to think about. I open it up with the business module saying, look, this isn't a job, it's a business. I don't care what company you hung your flag with and what they promised you they would give you, leads, assistance, guidance, this thing, that thing, or just some ridiculously high split and give you nothing. You are fully responsible. I say at the end of every podcast, nobody is coming for you, so you need a plan. But see, isn't that the same for the seller? The seller needs a good plan to sell. The buyer needs a good plan to buy. So why don't you simply put together a very basic plan that takes them through the process correctly? See, stop training for just one piece of the process. Oh, I have to talk about marketing to sellers, and I have to talk about representation to buyers. Yes, you do, but in the context of an overall plan. At the Griffin Realty Group, my brokerage, and then subsequently in the teaching company, the Realty Classroom, we just talk about 13 points. I just had it on a whiteboard behind me where I can see it over here to the left. Up on the whiteboard, I put 13 points up because one of my mastermind members was training their team. They said, well, Danny, 17 minutes, I can't memorize what he's saying. I never said that. You're telling me you can't act like a fifth grader introducing a plan to somebody and be authoritative about that? Watch. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is actually quite simple, and I've chunked it up to 7 steps so you can understand it. I'll take care of all the micro details, but I just need you to understand the macro steps we'll be going through together. See, just the fact that I say it that way, I begin to lend myself some authority. And I'm demonstrating it. I'm not thumping it in my chest and telling you how great I am and rolling my resume down the street or telling you I've got 17,000 testimonials and 5 stars from this site and that site. I'm not telling you that because it doesn't matter to them until it matters to them, all that other stuff. What matters is, do you have a plan to help them? And are you confident in your authority to do so? That's what this is all about. This is the single largest financial and emotional transaction most of these people will make in a lifetime. They need somebody to be strong and authoritative and confident. And having a plan gives you that. I can't tell you how many top producers come to me, let alone new agents, and they've been doing the business, and they look like everything is so great. They're doing so multiple transactions at millions of dollars. I did 8 million. I did 20 million. I did 50 million. That's all I hear. Nobody even tells me whether they were profitable in pursuit of that or they lost their life to it. I have a brand new client who is totally stressed out and totally is jonesing for a planned way to do things, right? And it's like, perfect. You're ready. You'll hear me now. So It's all about starting off by having a plan. Let me go back to the seller plan for a second, right? You talk about pricing. If you want to go up Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we talk about pricing it right. And we talk about the math behind that and the market factors that are weighing in on it now, whatever those external factors are. We're going to take a look at other properties that sold. I hate the word comparable because there is no such thing. So we're going to close the gap between what somebody bought for similar money and yours. That's all pricing it right. P. Next, we can talk about how to move up in that pricing ladder. If you want to talk about the second point in the plan, conditioning. If you will spend some time, money, and energy and effort, or let me coordinate it for you, we can recondition your property for sale. Once that's all done to the best that we can do, we're going to go to the third step, which is staging. We're going to move your furniture around. We're going to move some of your stuff out. Or we're going to bring in a pro so that we can stage the space, because most buyers cannot see how space is properly used, and you've been living in it the way you want to. That's not necessarily the way to enhance it for sale. The fourth point is finally marketing. I know everybody tells you marketing, and I know your perception. See, this is leadership. This is authority, right? I know your perception might be that this is all about marketing. We can't even talk about marketing until we've talked about those first three things. Want me to prove it to you? Okay, the wrong price trumps any kind of marketing, period. Game over. You get the wrong asking price on something, it's game over. You cannot get anybody to come there. I don't care how good somebody's marketing is. So I've proven my point. Done. Authoritative statement. Confident statement. So we go through these things because when marketing happens, there are actually several beats to it. One, we need to now capture this reconditioned, restaged home on the best day that we possibly can with a professional photographer so that we digitize it. This is the digital age. The information age is all online. So we have one moment in time to digitize this product. And then we syndicate it, meaning we put it into MLS and we allow the world to suck it up onto their websites. It just went everywhere. You just became a beautiful fly speck in the internet ocean. But then we're going to take the third step and we're going to push market it. See where I'm going? I am saying this in fifth grade language. This is so easy to understand. I'm on the fourth point. I keep going. I say now when that's all done, if we got the price right, people like the pictures, details online, the brokers, broker to broker, 88% of the time, one complete broker different from the next one, 88% of the time in my marketplace, that's the way it goes down. But the other 12%, I'm going to get off my duff and we're going to do things like open house. We're going to push the virtual open house if that's what we need to do. We're going to push the marketing online to try to stimulate direct conversations. And that communication is going to tell you whether you make adjustments or not. Ultimately, that will lead to negotiation because somebody will make an offer. We will use the same math we used in the pricing it right to negotiate, and then we will close this with care to make sure we don't lose this. That's it. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, of course, are there going to be all these micro moments in that plan? Yes. And it's the same thing for the buy side. You're just going through things like representation, pre-approval or proof of funds. Going out and matching online first these days, because 99% of people are online looking at properties, will match up what your pre-approval, your cash expenditure is going to be with the features and the benefits that you can see online. Then we'll go tour these properties when we're out there. Then after touring them, you'll see the one that you like and we will negotiate, but we will do an analysis like we would do for a seller, and then we'll close with care. See what I'm saying? 1, 2, 3. It's like a dance. And it's quick. I can give it in seconds almost, under 60 seconds, and you'll understand what I said. Or if I have to slow down and give this presentation over the course of a longer period of time, if somebody wants to digest it slower, it's like an accordion when you have a good plan. See where I'm going? You are the real estate authority confidently, like I just did that for you, when you have a plan that you can rely on, and a simple plan. Not a complex one. The complexities will come with your experience. So if you're a rookie, you can give the same dissertation at that chunked up level that I can give. In fact, that's my hope for my agency. I teach my agents that plan. So tomorrow morning, the first day that they have their license, they can walk out, go to their friend's house, and be an authority. Not their friend anymore, an authority, because they have a plan. All right, let's move on. Your tone matters. I know when I'm coaching here, you say, oh, but you're Danny. You coach it, you do it. I know. Don't use me as an excuse, though. I'm here to guide you to say that I train every week. And I'll repeat, go to the Realty Classroom Facebook page, go to the Realty Classroom YouTube page. I try to give away as much content that's eavesdropping too, so that you can see inside my training program for nothing. You can hear what's happening. And what we'll coach on a lot is tone. The tone matters. And I definitely hear it all the time on the telemarketing end, where you can hear almost somebody's tone change. They get higher pitched. They almost sound like little children. Danny, this is Sally calling from. What is that tone? That is not an authoritative tone. And that's not even the way these people talk, because I know them personally. I've interviewed a lot of them for my mastermind members to make sure that they were the right people, strong. A lot of them women that are really strong. I'm like, yes, hire her. And then next thing you hear is, yeah, it sounds like a first date. Guys too, you're not getting away from me. Same thing. That tone does not communicate that you're confident. And if you're not confident, you can't be authoritative. And if you can't be authoritative, you can't get these people who are silently begging to be led to stop talking over you and listen to you. Letting them, right? Letting you lead them. Because it's amazing. Again, on this call we just did, Autumn, my telemarketer, brought it up. She said, look, people will just, they'll drag you all around. It's not just the rude people. It's the people who will kill you with too much verbosity around nice. Oh, they sound so nice, don't they? Oh, well, we're going to, next thing you know, you don't even know where you stand with them. Oh, yeah, you can call me whenever. They have blown you off. They have no idea what your value is. They have no idea what your offer is. They have totally wagged the dog, and you're sitting there with a bloated database going, well, I guess I'll call them back in a couple of months. You don't even know where they stand. So see, authority in your tone can grab hold of this. Now, of course, if you want to go micro into coaching, there are scripting. I like to call it scripting, because there are very serious scripts that will set the tone with authority. And we follow those, especially when we're following up on any kind of outbound call to a lead, no matter what kind. We try to script it out so that the introduction is there, and it's based on laws of laws of behavior. And I've talked about that in the podcast before, so I'm not going to go too far down. I just want to reference tone. Be confident. And if you have a script for the first time, or you don't have one, you better know what you're saying. I can't believe how unathletic people are when they walk into a home or they're doing a telemarketing call. Those are the sales moments. And right? That's what you hear in your head. Forget about what's coming out to the consumer, and you're missing what they're saying because you're so nervous. You're like a first date, and you can't even think. You don't even know what happened. Don't do that. Get your legs underneath you athletically, or sit nice and confidently in this chair. Like when I'm doing a podcast, I'm square. This chair, I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm right here. The desk is underneath me. Everything's tight. I'm here with you. I'm athletically ready to talk to you about this subject. My notes are right below here. You can't see them, but I'm clear. I have a plan for this. Boom, 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 boom. Okay? Do the same, because then your tone will be more naturally authoritative if you're organized. Next, a great guide is actually a strong leader. I've talked about this before. This is really the hero's story, meaning we aren't the hero of this story. It's the buyer or seller, but they enter center stage with a problem. They don't have a plan. Now, we know they need one, and they just tell the audience they want some pictures and details of properties, and they want to know what their home is worth and all the things that they perceive that is the plan. Well, it's not even remotely close to a plan. There are bits of information. So we need to enter the other side of the stage as a guide. But see, when you really think about a guide is a leader. Don't confuse it with the hero. It's okay to have the guide come in and be a strong, authoritative leader. It doesn't upstage the hero if done correctly. Same thing on this concept of prospect pursued, run away. You can be a strong leader as a guide without upstaging the hero. Just remember that. Okay? So when you come in with that plan, you know they need it, but you might not be able to, club them right over the head. Think about every Hollywood movie made, or a play. Somebody comes in and they're the hero, and they give a monologue, and you know they're a mess. You know that the vampire's right around the corner per se, so you can see the problem, and it's obvious. So enters the guide from the other side. Well, it wouldn't be an interesting story if there wasn't a little bit of a twist and a turn, and it took up about 90 minutes on the screen, would there? Well, that's what it's like to deal with sellers and buyers. You can't walk in and go, hey, I see your problem. You have no plan. Here's your plan. You won't even listen to me in these podcasts and go get a copy of the free agent plan. It gets strategic. I got to say it thousands of times. See my point? I know what you need because I needed it too. I still need it. I rely on it. I refine it. The plan, the plan, the plan. Nobody wakes up every day and says, I can't wait to manage my process of selling. I can't wait to manage my process of buying, right? They don't think like that. They think, I got to look at some properties. I need to know what my home is worth. I saw Sally sold it for that. My house is way better. All that nonsense starts to come in and interfere. And the last point here is, look, you got to stop being apologetic. If you're in this business, you have a license, you have to position yourself in your mind's eye before it ever happens, and maybe you need a reset right now. You're an authority. Act like it and stop apologizing for being in it. I've got a whole bunch of gals. I can't wait for them to get their license. And they're saying, oh, geez, I'm sitting there going, who am I? And what? Why are you apologizing for wanting to do something, for wanting to be this guide, for wanting to get in there and help people? What are you apologizing for? Get out of your head. The world needs a whole bunch of good guides, especially in this business. All right? Let me go back and reiterate these things. Why are real estate agents so afraid to be authoritative? Well, number one is they just don't recognize that prospects that are out there waiting for them, especially the ones they don't know, are silently begging to be led. It's the truth. The next point is, well, you can become the authoritative leader when you have a plan. Get a plan for sellers. Get a plan for buyers. Learn the plan. It's simple. It's really just putting the way the process works in order. Next, when you get that plan, your tone matters. Don't sound like a shrinking violet. Sound like you believe in it. The more you study and simplify your own plan, the more confident you are that it's simple, it's easy to understand, and it's easy for you to explain. So don't start high-pitching yourself, I guess is the best way to put it. Next, remember that a great guide is a strong leader, but they don't trample the hero. They get up underneath them and lead the hero to the right direction, the right plan, whatever the step might be. And lastly, will you stop being apologetic in your head? This imposter syndrome, like you could never be this thing. That's you inside of you blowing the whole thing up. Stop doing that. All right, let me summarize it by saying it this way. Too many agents act as if they're lucky to get an opportunity to serve as a professional guide when the fact is that they're needed. I mean, they are needed to help buyers and sellers navigate the single largest financial and emotional transaction that most will ever make in an entire lifetime. And that's all the know-it-alls too, by the way. Oh, I've sold 2 properties before. I know. I know. You got it all down cold, right? So therefore, agents should always act with authority and confidence, or the consumer will go follow somebody else who leads them better. All right, now remember, I'm going to say it again. Here I come. You can go and take immediate action right now to get started in the right direction if you're new, a better direction if you're already top producing as far as transactions are concerned. I know what your problem is because I had it and I teach to overcome it. You're not strategic. So this free business plan is just really to make you cognizant, aware, intentional about being modular about your business, waiting for you at freeagentgift.com. Also, don't forget you can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. It's free coaching. I am telling you, this is coming from my paid highest level coaching program. Members that have been with me for years working on their business and improving it, weathering storms like the pandemic, the recession, the change in the digital age. This is what we work on, and we chunk up the ideas and we give them to you right here. So subscribe, iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And we also broadcast and eavesdrop into this live training, or at least a component of it, not the deep dive management stuff, but the live sales training calls are on Facebook and YouTube every Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. If you just turn on those page channel notifications, all the little bells that you see out there for the Realty Classroom, You won't miss the reminders. Put in your calendar. That would be smarter. We'd also appreciate it if you would comment on our posts when you see them. When you see these posts on YouTube or Facebook, let me know what you're thinking. What are you struggling with? What is your challenge? Because that's how I coach. When I'm one-on-one with these top producers, we dig into what their problem is, and against the backdrop of the plan, we solve. I'd like to do that for you, but you have to comment. You have to engage. Also, thanks for listening, but remember this. Nobody's coming for you, so go get to work on your own business, and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for listening.